Hello, my name is Umar Yusuf. In this video series, I'm going to be guiding you on how to use Inkscape for geoscientific research publishing. So basically, we are going to use the free Inkscape software, which is a vector graphic software to create high quality maps and research figures. So a few months ago, I was actually embarking or working on a research paper, and then I stumbled upon this research paper published on the MDPI, that is a multidisciplinary publishing institute that hosts about 400 over 400,000 400 different kind of journals, as we are going to see in a moment. So I came across this very paper written by Polina Lemenkova, and what impressed me was actually when I saw the figures in this research paper. I noticed the author did not just provide the source of the figures, but also the name of the software that was used in creating those figures. So like this very figure 1, the GIMP software was used in creating this figure. Going to figure 2, the software that was used in making the figure is this. Going to figure 3, the software that was used is this, QGIS. So the author did a very nice work by including the source and the software specifically that were used in making these figures in this research work. So in our case, I'm going to be using Inkscape, which is a free vector graphics software, and you can download it by going to inkscape.org. So just click on the download button to download the latest version of the software. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to work with the software to add high quality figures in your research work. And as you all know, if you are in the earth sciences or geoscientific disciplines, you are going to be working with a lot of diagrams, a lot of figures in your research work. So let's take a look at some other research papers under the geoscientific field. So here I'm going to filter the journal on MDPI by geo, and then we'll see the related geoscientific journals available. So here we have a journal of geographies, geohazard, geomatics, geometry, geosciences, and so on. So I think let me check these geosciences, and then let's go through some papers randomly. So let's check this paper. Actually, let me see. Let's scroll down so you can see this is a diagram or a figure that was included in this research paper. This is another figure. So this is another figure. So I will show you how to arrange your figures like this using Inkscape. So this figure are probably obtained from different sources or different software, and then you can see the author here added this label A, B, C, and then this scale onto the figure. So you can use Inkscape to arrange your figures in this structure and then add some of these labels. So let's quickly go back and check another random paper. Let's check this, and then let's see what we have here. Here we have a table. If you go down, then we have a figure here. This is another figure. So we can make use of Inkscape to make this figure better. You can see even if I expand it, these texts here are not readable. They are not quite legible. You can use the vector graphics software to enhance the readability of this kind of figures. There's another one here too. So basically, you are going to use your primary software for preparing some of these diagrams and then taking it to Inkscape to enhance the quality of some of these diagrams, just like what this researcher has here. This figure was produced using QGIS, and then you can take it to Inkscape to further enhance the quality of the figure. So basically, that's what this video series is going to be all about. And before then, I will quickly show you what the Inkscape interface looks like and how to learn more, or where to get more knowledge or basics about the Inkscape software. So in general, the steps we are going to be following are 3. The first is to determine the size of the image, that's the target image. And then the second step is to design and arrange the figure component. Then the last is to finalize and export the figure. So if you are new to Inkscape, if you have never used Inkscape before, and you just downloaded it and installed it, let me show you some YouTube channels that you can, I recommend you to check out to learn more about the Inkscape. So the first category of the YouTube channels I'm going to talk about here is the channels that talks about scientific figures. So there is this fantastic video prepared by Andrey on the principle of beautiful scientific figure for research papers. So the YouTube video is here. I'm going to leave it in the video description and you can take a look at it. I recommend you watch it to learn how to prepare the principle behind beautiful scientific preparation of beautiful scientific figures. Even though he did not use Inkscape precise to be specific, he used CorelDRAW and some other graphics tools, but the knowledge you are going to find from here is valuable. He also has another second video on how to create beautiful research figures. So here he make use of CorelDRAW, which is just like an Inkscape software to do it. Then some other channels too I recommend you take a look at is this Draw Biomed. So the video series here actually make use of Inkscape for scientific illustration. Then another channel is InSearch. So this channel too uses Inkscape to make scientific figures and illustration. So then if you want to learn the basic of Inkscape, there are a couple of channels I recommend also. They are here. And the first one is Logos by Nick. So he has an introductory video on how to use Inkscape. So check it out. There is another video by Martin VDA. So he also has another introductory video on how to make use of Inkscape. Then there is channel by Ion Echo Design, and there is also another channel by Sweater Cat Design. So all these channels are fantastic when it comes to understanding what Inkscape is and the capability of Inkscape. So Inkscape is actually a very powerful vector graphics software, and I want to assure you that what these authors covered in their YouTube channel is far beyond the knowledge you need to be able to produce a beautiful scientific figure. So most of these authors, they focus on the graphical design aspect of the Inkscape. And when you are using Inkscape for scientific research figures, you will not need an in-depth knowledge like someone who is going to use it for graphic design, to make logos and make other kind of banners and what have you. So if you install Inkscape, you need to double click on the icon on your desktop, and then it will launch the interface. You'll be presented with this interface. So here you have like 3 bars: the quick start, the supported by you, and then time to draw. So I'll just quickly go over here and then show you where you need to start. Usually here I'm going to be using the dark mode. So in case if your interface is light mode, don't worry, the icons will still look the same, the functionality is still the same. So but if you prefer the dark mode, just like me, just switch to dark mode here under the quick setup. So you can always leave the default Canva and what have you. The keyboard too, you can leave the default, but if you're coming from another software background, you can choose your preferred keyboards. So like somebody who is familiar with CorelDRAW can choose the CorelDRAW keyboards, but I usually leave it on the default. The color too, you can select your preferred color for the icons. So this is, if you want to support the project, you can always use this tab to do that. Then the time to draw is where you select the kind of template you want to work on, and then you click on new draw to start your drawing, to start your new drawing. So but for what we are going to be doing in this video series, this template doesn't actually matter, because at the end of the day is what you produce that you are going to select and to save in your research work. So we are not actually going to worry about these sizes, but they are there just in case if you need something different. So I usually select A4 landscape, and then it will launch the interface for me just like this. So you can always change the settings anytime you want to by going to the document properties. There are a lot of settings here. The settings we had earlier on, we can change them from here, and some other places, like so just like any other software, the software has the menu and then the icons. So for most of the kind of figures we are going to be working on in your research paper, you will definitely not be using most of these icons, and there are a few icons that are essential that for you to understand. So if you go through some of those recommended video tutorials on understanding Inkscape, I think you will not have much problem in coping up with what we are going to be doing in this video series. But I will definitely make sure that I explain everything in detail as we go along. So for our purpose in preparing a figure, a research figure, basically what we are going to be doing is going to some of these journal, your preferred journal, and then get or download the template that your journal uses. For example, now if I go back to this geosciences journal on geosciences, I will look for the section where they said that is for authors guideline. Your journal may be different from what you have here, but I'm going to be using this very template. So instruction for author. So I will go to preparing figure and scheme. So here are details for the kind of figures that are acceptable for this journal. So as you can see, if you read through, you understand how you need to prepare your figures. So in your journal specification may be different, but I'm very sure chances are what we have here will be applicable in whatever journal you want to publish in. So here the DPI, the expected DPI should not be less than 600 dot per inch, and then the acceptable format are PNG, JPEG, and what have you, and the TIFF format. That's in raster format. And then if you are publishing in LaTeX, you can make use of PDF, of course, and other SVG or other vector graphics file formats. So manuscript preparation. Let me look for where to download the manuscript template. I think it's somewhere here. Yeah, this is it. Submission checklist. Use the template, the Microsoft Word template. So you can download this template. If you're using LaTeX, you can download this and then prepare your manuscript based on this template. So here I have downloaded the template for one of the journals, and then we are going to use this as a basis for our figure preparation. So let me quickly show you what we are going to be doing throughout the video series. So if I go back to where I have the instructions here, so here we are going to determine the target figure size. So I'll go back to my manuscript template. So let's say this is the figure, this space in the template, we are going to have a figure. So here we can quickly copy this image to Inkscape. So if I go back to Inkscape and then I'll paste it there. So here, if I select it using the selector tool, so make sure you pick the selector tool and then click on the image you just pasted. So if you go up here, you will see that you have the width of the image and then you have the height of the image. So you can always change between different units. By default, it's in millimeter. In my case, you can change it to inches, centimeter, and even pixels, depending on your journal specification. So, or depending on the unit you want to work with. So here I have it in pixels, and that is the size in pixels. So you need to determine the size. So in pixels, this is the size. If you're working with millimeter, you can change it to millimeter, and then this is the size. So be sure that you know the size of the images within your manuscript template. So let's assume that this is where we want to insert one of our images or our figure. So now we have determined the size. The next step is to design and arrange the figure. So in designing and arranging the figure, this is where you're going to spend like most of your time, like 95% of your time is going to be spent here. So let's see that. So this is where you can now draw things or import images or diagrams. Here I'm drawing a rectangle. I can make the edges perfectly sharp. You can change the fill color to any color by clicking on the color down here. If you want to set the color for the stroke, you right click on any of the color and then set stroke. If you want to increase the width of the stroke, you can do that by you can click on this stroke, double click, and then to bring out the fill and stroke panel where you can change the width of the stroke. So presently it is set to 0.25. You can change it to 3. Press enter and then it will increase it just like that. So you can draw your cycle. Maybe you give it a different color. You can draw a star or triangle. If you change the number of corners to a different figure, a different value than 3, to change it to that value. So here we have it to 5. You can change it to 7 and so on. So if you want to have it as a triangle, make sure that it is set to 3. Then you can draw your triangle. If you want a star, you can change it to a different value. and you have it just like that. So let's assume that this is our figure, and then we want it, we are done with the figure, and then we want to take it into our manuscript. We want to insert it here. So we now need to go to the last step, which is to finalize and then export the figure. So remember, we determine the size. Here we are going to spend just like 2% or 3% of our time. Then here is where you are going to spend like 95% of your time. Then here you need to spend like 2 or 3% of your time. So if you add it together, you make it will become 100. So let me actually add it. Let me actually write it for you so that it will make sense. So let me add the percentage. So here, let's say here, all we need is just 2%. Then here, we are going to spend like 95% of our time. Then here, we need like 3% of our time. So this is the most difficult step. And as you already see, that is the step that will require us to design, to create different objects, add text. Let me also add text. Maybe here I need to add text. Let me add my name. Maybe something like Yusuf. Then increase the font size. Then maybe let's say change the color. And so on. So you got the idea. So let's assume that this is done. Now we are moving to the last step. So the last step is to export, finalize and export. So let's export this quickly and then add it into our manuscript, just for demonstration sake. So after selecting it, you need to like go to export, go to file menu and then look for export, or you can use a shift Ctrl E to bring out the exporter dialog window. So from the export dialog window, you just need to go under selection. So you can see that's why I said initially I mentioned that the paper size you selected from the onset doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day we are going to be exporting based on the figure we drew. So select the background figure and then go to selection. So you are going to export only the selection, not the page. If you're on that page, it means you are going to export this page. But under selection, it means you are going to export just the selection. And you can see it from the preview right here. So what you need to set here is the dot per inch, that's the DPI. And remember, if we go back to the manuscript, the authors, instruction for authors for this very journal, we can see that the expected DPI is 600. So we are going to set this value to 600, just like that. Then if you are done with that, you just click on this browse button and then locate wherever you want to save your image. Locate a folder where you want to save your image. Let me save it here. So I'll just call it like test figure. So the format is in PNG, which is an acceptable format for this very journal. You can save it as a JPEG or TIFF. And if you're working with LaTeX, you need to save it as a vector format, either SVG, PDF, or some other supported formats. So here, let me leave it on PNG. So I will click on save. After typing the name, click on save, and then it will export it. So now let's go back to the working folder and then retrieve the image we just saved, the figure we just saved. So here's the figure. I will just copy it and then take it to the manuscript. So here in the manuscript, I can delete this and then paste, Ctrl V to paste the figure. So basically, this is the workflow we are going to be doing in the subsequent videos in this series. So I hope it's going to be something you like and something that will help you in improving the quality of figures in your research papers. So see you in the next one. Thank you. Have a nice day. All right.